Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review for Halloween month. And this one, really, I really enjoyed. It's a film that came out earlier this year. Got a good movie theater experience, and it was just a wild ride to sit through. And I really enjoyed it. Saw the trailer earlier this film, or earlier. I think it came out in late 2016 though, and although I did a late trailer reaction like a week or two before it came out though, but I liked the trailer. And it was just really an insane film to watch. It was just crazy. It was really a blood fest of a film, and that is the Belko experiment. I really enjoyed the film, except I have one issue though, which I will get to. But it was just a really a really bloody good time basically watching. It was just the amount of blood that's going through this film was just crazy and insane. And at least it's Office Space meets Battle Royale, and it's directed by McLean, who directed Wolf Creek, which I'm still not the biggest fan of though, but I like Rogue. It's my favorite killer crocodile film. The Darkness was Kevin Bacon. It sucked. Generic name, and Kevin Bacon I like though, but he wasn't the problem. But it was the film was just a generic film, and even on the title, but the film was not up to snuff. This one I definitely like a lot better than the Belko. Definitely like a lot better than the Darkness. And great supporting cast as well as the star. Um, and it's written by James Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2 and Slither and wrote on other things like the remake of Dawn of the Dead and Scooby Doo and all that. And on the making of this film, he said that he got the whole idea. James Gunn, he got the whole idea of the Belko experiment is that it came to him in a dream. So that was kind of cool. And he helped write the film as well as produce one of the producers on the film. And it's definitely a very fast paced film. It goes by just like that. Although one thing I have to say is though, when I reviewed this film, which I enjoy, I forgot to mention that this film is also very fast paced. By the time the film ends, like about an hour and 16, or was it 17? I forget. It's an hour and 17 minutes. Yeah, it's definitely a fast paced film. So I forgot to mention that when you can check out my previous review. I just reviewed that my latest one. That one's fast paced and definitely is also very fast paced as well. Without the end credits, it's probably about at most 80 minutes. Um, and it's a great, it's just the carnage in this film is just insane in this film. It's just really, and which is one of the positive things they say. This definitely has a great amount of practical use of blood usage in this film, which I appreciate. Not usage, not using very little CGI blood in this film, which maybe there's one or two times though, but most of the time films there's a lot of good practical blood, which I really do appreciate. It was kind of refreshing to see a good amount of usage of practical blood in this film, which I really enjoyed in. And and like I said in the back here, it's a bloody I pronounce that name was Slaughterfest, or is it Circle Bloodfest, whatever the name is. But yeah, it's definitely that. I will just put a bloody Slaughterfest. That's what I'll just basically put it. And the supporting cast, you got John Gallagher Jr., you got Tony Goldwyn from Ghost, which I just did in the review of the Friday 13th films. He made his debut in Part 6, Jason Lives. He got paled to with a spear and by Jason. Of course, Ghost was his breakthrough role. He later be in films like The Last Samurai and The Sixth Day, and he voiced Tarzan, the 1999 film Tarzan, which I really enjoyed his voice there. And of course, he was in the TV show Scandal, and also the remake of The Last House on the Left. And Tony Goldwyn, I think he's an underrated actor. He's an actor who doesn't get too much praise nowadays. I really enjoy Tony Goldwyn. I wish he'd give more, like this film, I wish he'd give more roles in. Definitely. I enjoy Tony Goldwyn right there. As for other supporting, there you got Adria, Arjona, I forget how to pronounce her name, but her right there. I really think she did a really great job. I think she's a woman who works in the building that kind of like the love interest of John Gallagher Jr. Strong woman, not like a woman. Oh, I broke a nail, dead weight type of woman. No, she's a strong character held on her own. She did a really good job. John C. McGinley, which if you recognize this guy, he's been in a lot of films as well. Plays like definitely like the douchebag of the group, and you got Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, playing in it as well. Even he played in Guardians. He plays Kraglin. He's in it as well. Michael Rooker, Yondu himself, he's in the film as well. Nice to see him in there. Rusty Schwimmer, who works in the building, who also appeared in the Friday 13th. Jason Goes to Hell. She was the worker, the owner of the diner, Joey. She got her mouth caved in by the possessed Jason. She's in this as well as another who works with John Gallagher Jr.'s character. Good score by Tyler Bates. Very fast paced, blood fest all over. When the film came out, it opened. The film didn't. I knew to expect this. This film opened the same weekend as Beauty and the Beast, and I knew this film didn't stand a chance. It debuted in 7th place behind Beauty and the Beast, what its monster opening. And the film, on a budget, it did make a profit though. On a budget of $5 million, it made about $10 million, but it's still not enough though. Which, even though it did make a profit though, but I knew this film didn't stand a chance because it opened the same weekend as Beauty and the Beast. It has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes and has a 6.1 on IMDb. But I really enjoy the premise. Some critics disagree with that. I don't get it though. Maybe it's because they didn't like the plot of it or whatever, and just I don't get it though. I just don't get the whole thing. I had fun with this film. If I have fun with the whole premise, the concept of it, I can let that slide. But all these workers that work at Belko in some place in Bogota, Colombia, and all these workers, these office workers, and all those 80 people who work in it, and then all of a sudden the loudspeaker goes off and the voice saying, kill 2 of your coworkers or we'll end 8 or so, whatever, in which they all believe this is a prank or it's some, like, what Tony Goldwyn says, whoever's doing this is having laughter at our expense. And the whole building goes on lockdown, it seals the whole building, everyone's trapped inside. Like, Michael Rooker, he tries to use this blowtorch to melt the door down, but it doesn't do anything, not even melted at all. And then a couple of people get killed, and actual blood squibs when their heads explode because they got bombs in the back of their heads, which they thought was like tracers or whatever. And when a lot of people when they get their heads explode with the bombs, lots of good practical blood explosions, which I do appreciate. And a couple of people die, and they get the idea of when John Gallagher Jr. says about the bombs, he tries to take it out with the voice and says, "Do not remove the explosive from the tracer from your body, or else," which he tries to, but then he stops. And Tony Goldwyn, he's like he's taking charge, and and then like John Gallagher Jr. He wanted to options like we don't need to kill innocent people, but Tony Goldwyn, in order to survive all this, he thinks about his wife and kids need him. Well, of course, everyone has families though, but he's in a situation like he has no choice in the matter, do what he says, or because and he means survival to see his family, and the same thing for everyone else though. But John Gallagher Jr. was trying to everyone else die though, but he can't. And the whole thing is just a one big riot. Everyone starts dying. When everyone's dying, it's this full-on blood force, trauma, carnage. A lot of great blood effects. And there's the one issue. There's 2 issues actually. One of the first victims, actually, besides the first people getting their heads exploded, but one of the first not victims. Sadly though, Michael Rooker, he's one of the he dies so early, that's a big letdown. I was looking forward to see more he can do. Like his coworker, I think it was the guy who started Ant-Man, who was part of Paul Rudd's group. You know, he was like the hacker and all that. He panics and he accidentally hits Michael Rooker in the head with a wrench. It puts a nice big dent in his head, and then he dies. That was like a letdown for me because it's Michael Rooker. I enjoy Michael Rooker, and he's one of the first victims to die, and that's sad because I like to see him what he would have eventually died anyway in the movie, but I like to see him how he would have done more in the movie. But that's one thing that's a letdown for me is Michael Rooker. He dies pretty early in the movie, but and like when Tony Goldwyn wants to get the guns, see if they're safe, and then the security guard was with John Gallagher and gets stabbed to get the keys to open the safe, and one of them leads to another that the voice says, kill 30 of your co-workers, and 60 of your lives. And like Tony Goldwyn is getting everybody in the lobby, get some certain people in groups like, or people over the age of 60 step over here, and people who have like kids under the age of 18 step over here. And there's not enough for 30, so he gets a few more people, including Johnny Gallagher Jr. Everyone down their knees. He starts shooting people one by one, and while they have all this music playing over their head. It was just a little thing. They have like music playing, but it's like only like in Spanish. Whether that was kind of like an interesting idea, put it all in Spanish. So he starts shooting people, but then the lights go off, and by this one worker, female worker who's like a new hire there, she turns off the power. Then everyone starts scattering, and and then by the time though, but it's not enough though. They're one kill short, and then now 60 more people die. Everyone's head starts exploding, blood everywhere, and it was just a bloody good time scene. And Sean Gunn, he's like started losing. He's like, it's all in my mind. It's all in my mind. And and then some of the people that what John Gallagher Jr. knows, they die. Like Russell Schumer, she dies right in front of John Gallagher Jr. And now the voice says, now whoever has the most kills will live. Like, as of right now, Tony Goldwyn, he has the most kills, and next is John C. McGinley, and John C. McGinley, he starts getting a meat cleaver, starts chopping everybody up, and Tony Goldwyn's going after everybody else, and with John C. McGinley, Adria Arjona. Meets with Sean Gunn as another guy. Like they taking some other bombs that haven't been set off, like little small rounds, and Johnson McLean kills Sean Gunn, the other guy, while she kills Johnson McLean right here with the shot with the axe. Good axe to the face, bloody bit. Which because Johnson McLean, he's been a douchebag, so he kind of deserve it. And then the girl was hiding for the most. And she steps out of the elevator. Tony Goldwyn shoots her in the head. And then everyone else is killed, but then Tony Goldwyn what's her name? She actually gets shot. She gets shot by Tony Goldwyn. And that's another bit of a letdown as well, because I thought she was a strong character, but it all comes to one survivor though. So, but that's too bad because I liked her. She was a strong character as well, and she dies in John Gallagher Jr.'s arms, and then he goes after Tony Goldwyn. Now I'll let us see more of a brawl between these two though, but eventually, which leads to this our poster right here, which is in front of like this projection of the promo presentation of the Belko company, and this is where he just beats Tony Goldwyn's face in with a tape dispenser, which is a really good brutal effect. He just goes and bashes his face in, which has this scene right here. Brutal effect, and very bloody and practical, which I do enjoy. And then now he's John Gallagher Jr. He's the only survivor. And then the army guards, which from earlier they were trying to hang some banters from the roof, though, but they ended up shooting at them anyway. In which this voice told them no warning signs or anything. But then the guards, they come in, they bring him to that hangout which the John Gallagher Jr. was questioned earlier, and you get the voice, this old guy, asking him about questions. Because the whole thing is experiments, like, what will happen to all those people do in a situation like this? and it's more psychologically because what would happen, and like survival of the fittest, or how would you react to the sort of type of this test and all that. He's been asking him the questions, then, but John Gallagher Jr. he gets the upper hand because he took those bombs from earlier. He planted on some of the guards, and the other guy he sets up the ones that haven't been used yet, kills him, and then shoots that one guy a lot of times. And it was like yes, and now it comes down with the one thing that one problem I have with it is how the film ended. Because it ended like a typical cliche ending, a cliffhanger, where as soon as he steps outside, and it shows all these other computer TV screens of other people who have also survived in the Belko experiments. Other people, I'm like, when that film just ended right there, I wasn't there, I was like, wow. Good film. Now, regardless, I still enjoy the film. I will not let this hurt the movie for me, because I just hate when they do that when it's so good up to the point when it ends like that. I was like, oh. I just hate when they end films like that. Why? Why couldn't I have? Because it shows like it's happening. It happens like around the world and all that, and just why couldn't we cannot need to have something end like that? We couldn't just have it like he's like the only one, and that is how that film ended. It just really bugged me though. It was so good up to the point, just right when it freaking ended like that, it was like, oh, why? That's how I was like acting when the film ended. But regardless of all that, though, I still really enjoy the film. Just that, like, Michael Rooker's early death killed off too early, and the girl, I was liking her, but she had to die because it had to be like the only one survivor, so it had to be. Although one thing I do like is that it's only the one guy who survives in a horror film, which is ever rarely for a guy to survive in a horror film, like Josh Stewart in The Collector in the Collection, or Ash from the Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell, though. But ever so rarely, a guy, the lead guy in a horror film is the lead and survives through it. So that's another thing I do like. It's kind of rare where a lead guy in a horror film survives as the lead in this, and so, but still, it's just. It was a sad thing that she had to go because I liked her as well. Tony Goldwyn, I do enjoy. He's not really he's not really like a villain, but he's thrust into the situation to make horrible choices for him to see his family, and he doesn't want to do it, but he has to because otherwise he doesn't want. And none of these people don't want to die, and you're liking all these people, but it's sad to see all these characters go, and he has to do what he does to survive, see his family and all that. He's not really all that. Kind of say he's not a villain, but at the same time he is. But either way, Tony Goldwyn, he did a great job. I enjoyed him. I wish he would get more starring roles like this, like Last House on the Left and other stuff. And great directed by Greg McLean. Great writing by James Gunn, except for that last second ending. It was like a typical cliche ending cliffhanger, which that just bugged me though. It was so great up to that, and but sorry, regardless, James Gunn did a good job with throughout the whole movie writing on the film. So, the cast, like I said, did a good job, especially like John Gallagher Jr., Tony Goldwyn, Arjona, John C. McGinley, Michael Rooker. Even though for the small role he had, it was so nice to see him as well. Sean Gunn. The score by Tyler Bates, like even for the music that's playing in Spanish, I like that little touch right there. Great amount of usage of practical blood. Like a teensy bit of snit of CJ, but regardless, the whole movie is all practical blood, which I really did appreciate. It just brings back watching stuff from the 80s and 90s. And the whole thing is, the whole concept of it, I really did enjoy. I enjoy the Belko experiment. It's definitely one of my favorite films of 2017. But as for horror films, this film and Get Out, I really do enjoy. Like Unfriended from 2015. That's a horror film from 2015. I enjoy. For special features has like the making of, the trailer, and some TV spots like what's called Lee Hardcastle Survival Tips, which I like. It was like claymation of the stuff that's going of the TV spots, like in claymation, which I kind of liked. And course, like I said, the film didn't do jack shit when it opened up because it opened the same weekend as Beauty and the Beast, which was terrible because the film had such a monster opening. And of course, also that's another thing with the ending, kind of like a sequel bait ending, which we're not gonna get that because due to the film's horrible performance, but at the same time it did made a profit though. But the numbers speak for it, and we're not gonna get a sequel to this. But I think the film made the same amount of money as The Darkness did. They both made $10 million. But I don't think from Grabbing Land, I like Rogue, and I put this as two of his best films. But yeah, the Belko Experiment, just a real wild bloodfest, and just for that one split-second ending, that still does not hurt my enjoyment for this one because I really enjoy the premise and the concept of it, and just the bloody carnage. The practical bloody carnage was kind of nice to see if something like this in 2017. It was kind of refreshing about all this old practical blood stuff, you know, and just kind of throws back to the old slash films of the 80s and 90s, which was really nice to see. So yeah, I enjoyed the Belko Experiment, a good horror film. But if other people like that ending, that's fine. But it's made like a typical cliffhanger ending, which I didn't like. It just bugged me. It was just like, oh, why? They went for that ending. Ugh. But that does not hurt the movie. It hurt my enjoyment for this film because I really did enjoy the film. So, but that's my review for the Belko Experiment. I'll give it a thumbs up regardless of that typical ending. And James Gunn did a good job. He came up. It's like I said, the idea came to him in a dream, and I liked it. And once again, Tony Goldwyn, he's an underrated actor. I think we should get more starring roles like this because I think he's such an underrated actor, from Tarzan to Ghost, and like I said, The Last House on the Left, and I wish we would get more big roles like this, which is sad. But anyway, also one last thing. It was also distributed by Oran Pictures, which hasn't made like films like this in some time. You know, the old was a show. I like to see the old logo of Oran Pictures. Because I actually forgot when I saw the trailer. What was in the trailer for it. So yeah, like you see right there, Oran Pictures. But yeah. Well, that's my review for the Belko Experiment. I really did enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more review for Halloween month later.